Hi folks, I'm Hector Garcia, CPA and Advanced QuickBooks Pro Advisor. And in this video, we're going to talk about shortcuts for QuickBooks Online. Now by shortcuts, I mean quicker way to do things, quicker way to find functions inside QuickBooks, faster ways to navigate QuickBooks, and just work faster altogether. Now I love QuickBooks Online, and without these shortcuts, I don't think I would love it as much because you do need the shortcuts to work faster. As you get better at using the software, you're going to want to work with it faster and do your data entry faster, do your accounting work faster. So if you're looking for that, this video is perfect for you. Now I'm going to show you three types of sort of approaches to shortcuts you can have for QuickBooks Online. The first type, we're going to talk about keyboard shortcuts built into QuickBooks Online. So QuickBooks Online built a set of keyboard shortcuts that you can use, and we're going to go through all of them. In that part, I'm also going to talk about keyboard shortcuts built into the browser. I use Google Chrome. I recommend you use Google Chrome as well. I don't use Firefox, Safari, Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer, any of those things. I use Google Chrome because I find it to be the faster with the best amount of shortcuts, and you will see why. The second type of approach to shortcuts is I'm going to talk about a third-party app, a plugin. It's free for Google Chrome called Vimium. It's really, really cool. That essentially when you turn it on, the entire screen has a hotkey associated with it. So you can click anywhere on the screen with the hotkey. I'm going to show you how that works. You're going to be pretty excited about that. And I want to thank one of our followers in YouTube that actually commented that in one of my videos, say, hey, check this out. And ever since I started using it, I'm addicted to it. And I really, really wanted to make a video to talk about that. The third approach to shortcuts is I'm going to show you my own personal special menu I built. I built a bookmarks menu that contains every single function available inside QuickBooks Online and every single report available inside QuickBooks Online, including some hidden reports. You want to check that out as well. And I find that so much faster to navigate through that built-in menu I created versus using the built-in tools. So let's jump right to it. I'm inside QuickBooks Online now. First shortcut you need to know is Control-Alt question mark. If you have a PC, that would be Control-Alt question mark. If it's a Mac, it's Control-Option question mark. So Control-Option question mark, Control-Alt question mark is going to give you the additional information screen. First thing you're going to see is your company ID. You need that number for technical support, billing. If you need to call QuickBooks for whatever reason, that's probably the fastest way that they can find your account. Then you're going to see two sets of shortcuts. You're going to see what they call on the main pages shortcuts, and then on transactions shortcuts. And basically, when you combine Control-Alt and one of these keys, or Control-Option on the Mac and one of those keys, the function or the action here on the second column will activate. So if you use I, W, E, X, that sort of thing, that's going to open all of those things that you see on the screen. So let's see, for example, I'm in the home screen. I'm in a main screen. I hit Control-Alt or Control-Option I. That opens up the invoice. Now from here, I'm going to hit Control-Option or Control-Alt question mark just one more time so we can see the other keyboard shortcuts. Inside of a transaction like an invoice, the shortcuts on the right-hand side are the ones that are going to activate. So I want to cancel out or I want to save and close. There's my options there. So Control-Alt or Control-Option C cancels out and I can exit the screen. Let's try one more. Control-Alt X or Control-Option X opens up the expense. You can also hit Escape twice and it closes that transaction, which is pretty interesting. Control-Alt or Control-Option F is a really important one that opens up the search menu. Search menu is pretty interesting because you can search transaction numbers and you can also search transaction amounts, or you can also search by date. So for example, if I put 5000.00, that's going to be an amount. So that's going to search an amount. It found one amount for $5,000. That's awesome. If I want to search a transaction number, I won't use the periods. I just put 1001, and then it's going to find invoice number 1001, estimate number 1001, bill number 1001, whatever, check number, whatever transaction has a number associated with it, it will search that. So that's actually pretty interesting as well. Also dates, if I want to find something from, let's say April 15th, I put 04/15/2022, and then I'll find all the transactions at that time. Let me try a different date, like the 10th, and there it is. There's a transaction for the 10th. So if you know those, the transaction number, the transaction amount, or the date, that's pretty cool. You can also find reports. So if I'm looking for a profit and loss, it's going to find the reports that contain the word profit and loss. And that find feature is getting better and better. So I strongly recommend you check that out. Okay, so those are the keyboard shortcuts. Now let's talk about the Google Chrome shortcuts that actually work in all versions. I mean, in all websites, I meant to say. So it's not just QuickBooks exclusive. And the first one, most important one, is creating a new tab when you click on a hyperlink. So for example, if I want to go to the reports menu, if I click on it like normal, it removes whatever I had on the screen and replaces it with the reports menu. I don't want that. Maybe I want to set up a second tab. Now, some people right click, but I find that takes longer, and then click on new window or new tab. That works, but the shortcut is to hold the control button on your keyboard on a PC or command on the Mac. You command click or control click, and it opens up in a new tab. So let's just try that real quick. So I'm going to command click or control click, and now we see here a second tab. Let's say, for example, I want to go to new, and then I control click or command click on invoice, and there's a new tab. Let's say I go to banking. Let me close that up. Let's say I go to banking, and I want to go to, let's say, tags, and I do control click on tags, and that goes into a new tab. So there's the value right there. It's pretty obvious. You create a new tab, you don't lose whatever you were working on the previous screen. So that's pretty valuable. The other really cool thing about that is that you can access any of those tabs using Control 1 through Control 0 or Command 1 to Command 0 on the Mac. So for example, if I want to quickly jump to the first tab, I hit Command 1 or Control 1 on the PC. It goes to the first tab. I quickly want to go to the last tab. I hit Command 4 or Control 4 on a PC, and it goes to the fourth tab. That's really cool. The other thing I really like about Google Chrome is I can make this screen smaller. So for example, I'm going to make it about half the size, and then I can take any of these things, any of these tabs, and pull them out to the right hand side or left hand side, depending on where your screen is, and depending on how big your screen is or the resolution. You can have multiple things here on the screen. For example, I can have a P&L on the screen right here. I'm going to hit Control minus or Command minus on the Mac to zoom out. That's also a really cool shortcut. Command minus, Command plus, Control on the PC. And you can see a sort of a P&L live on the screen. So for example, let's say I have $1.5 million in sales, and I want to work on, let's say, a new invoice on the left-hand side. Anything I do on the left-hand side can update pretty quickly on the right-hand side, and without having to for me to close out and go to a new tab or a new screen to see the report. So I really like being able to have multiple tabs open. It's actually, in my opinion, sort of the ultimate shortcut. So I'm going to go ahead and create a transaction here. I'm going to create it here for like a big number, like $5 million. Just as it's pretty obvious once I create it. I'm going to use my shortcut, Control Option D, that's save and close, and that will save that transaction. And if you see here on the right hand side, all I have to do is click on Run Report. The report will refresh, and now you can see my sales are up to 6.5 million. So separating that tab is also a really useful resource. I'm going to click and drag it back into the main sort of group of tabs. That gets rid of the second screen, and then I can maximize my screen. Again, hit Control plus or Command minus to zoom in and zoom out. And you see how I used a combination of keyboard shortcuts and the mouse to sort of browse around and move around a lot faster than normal if you're not used to using any of those shortcuts. Now let's talk about a Chrome extension called Vimium. Now, easiest thing for you to do is just to Google it, type Vimium and press enter, and you should be able to see a website called chrome.google.com. Anything with the word Vimium inside of the Chrome web store, that's going to work. And then all you have to do is click on Add to Chrome, and it basically installs or adds the extension into your browser. And then once your Vimium Chrome extension is turned on, and the way you turn it on is you click on this little puzzle menu, and then you click on your Vimium, and then that turns it on. Now, in order to activate Vimium, all you have to do is make sure that you clicked on it at least once to activate it. And you can click on options here if you kind of want to see how it works. You really don't have to do much here. I'm going to escape out of that. And then I'm going to hit the question mark. When I hit question mark on the computer, because Vimium is turned on, you're going to see now a cheat sheet menu of all the sort of instant shortcuts that you get sort of added into your browser experience that you can use to do anything. And really, it doesn't really matter whether you're in QuickBooks or some other website, you can use any of these. But really, the most important one here is going to be pressing F. Now, because Vimium is turned on, again, you have to install that Chrome extension, has to be on. And then anywhere on the screen that you are in, you press F, and you're going to see all these little letters lay out in your screen. If you want to go to any of these menus per se, all you have to do is press that letter. Now, so for example, if I want to go to settings, which is up here on the right, which is the gear menu, all I have to do is press E, and then it opens up that gear menu. If I press F one more time, then it basically lays out a potential shortcut to anywhere on the screen. So I want to click on import data, I click on W. So you can really navigate potentially all of QuickBooks without even pressing the mouse. So let's try this again. Let's go to F, and we're going to go back. We're going to type SA to go to the dashboard. So that's going to take me to the home screen. I'm going to press F again, AS for new, and then F again, and then let's say L for check. So I didn't use my mouse at all. I just pressed a bunch of key combinations. You kind of have to try it. It's difficult to explain. Even in a video, it's difficult to really, truly appreciate. Go ahead and install Vimium, that third-party extension, that Google Chrome extension. Press F and you start working with it right away. You will be pleasantly surprised on how good it works. Now, something I really like, and this is built into Vimium, we're going to go into reports really quick, and I'm going to press F one more time, and then let's do profit and loss. Let's do F one more time. That would be DE for profit and loss, and then I'm going to scroll up here, and I'm going to show you there's a really quick way to scroll up and scroll down with Vimium. You can either press GG on the keyboard or press Shift GG, and it goes all the way down. So GG on the keyboard takes you all the way up, Shift GG goes all the way down. This is really useful for certain reports. For example, I'm going to click here on net income, and then I'm going to click here in all dates and run report. Usually these reports can be pretty long, and you have to scroll within the visual screen and then within the frame itself for the report. Depending on where your mouse is, if you scroll up here, that scrolls basically the entire sort of visual page. And then if you put your mouse inside of the sort of report table, it only browses from within. So sometimes you're up here and you're browsing down, and the report itself is not browsed down. You have to take the mouse and browse within that table. So one of the things I like to do, let's say for example, I want to go all the way to the end. I press Shift GG. That takes the page view all the way down, and then I click anywhere, and then I take my mouse, click on any sort of white space, hit Shift GG, and then it scrolls down within that report menu. And that nuance about scrolling up and down, whether your mouse is sort of in the middle of the reports table or outside of the reports table, it actually does matter. Where your mouse is matters, especially when it comes to scrolling. So I find that Vimium little trick with the GG be really useful. All right, so last but not least is my own personal QuickBooks Shortcuts menu. So what I've done is I created, as you can see here on the top of the screen, I created a folder, which is basically a bookmarks folder for Google Chrome. And I actually went into every function inside QuickBooks, and I organized every single thing in QuickBooks, whether it's a sales receipt, an invoice, an estimate, credit memo, customers with details, projects, I mean, you name it, whatever it's available in QuickBooks Online. Purchase orders, bills, pay bills, expense claims, products and services, price rules, product categories, again, reports, your report center, anywhere, anything in QuickBooks that has a unique URL that you can go straight to it using a link or a shortcut. In this case, this is a bookmarks for Google Chrome. I've created a menu and included all those. That will particularly help you find things in QuickBooks that in some cases you didn't even know they were there. Now, some things are independent of the version of QuickBooks that you have. So any of these shortcuts that don't contain a period, that means that these are available in all versions of QuickBooks. If they contain one period, that means they're only available in Essentials, Plus, and Advanced. So the Simple Start version of QuickBooks Online, which is the lowest $25 a month subscription, if it has a period, that won't work. If I grab any of these other functions here, if you see anything with 2 periods, that means that it only works in Plus or Advanced. And then if you see 3 periods, like in this one, that means it only works in Advanced. So you can visually see all the things that are available in QuickBooks, and using that little small nuance of those dots, the 1 dot, the 2 dot, and the 3 dots, also gives you a general idea what things are available in what version of QuickBooks. For example, here where it says Advanced Features, all the things are only available in Advanced, which is the most expensive version of QuickBooks. They're available here, and you see those 3 little dots following each link, just to kind of give you an idea more or less what version of QuickBooks, or specifically which one it has it. The other part of it is it's another folder called QBO reports, and this is really cool too. I've actually taken every single report available in all versions of QuickBooks, and I laid them out in this folder menu. So if I want to go to customer balance summary, I can quickly do it right from that screen, right? And it doesn't matter what version of QuickBooks you have. Most reports are available in all versions, although there are some that are only available in other versions, and because it will be limited to the data input you can do anyway. But all the reports, or most of the reports, if they're available in your version, you should be able to pull them through here. There's also a set of hidden reports per se, which are reports not available for people to sort of click through the menus and find. And I have them here under where it says hidden reports. So a couple of really cool reports here. One is called the custom summary report. I have other videos where I talk about in detail why I love that report so much. And there's the account quick report, voided and deleted transactions, generic transaction report. Again, this is more for sort of custom report building. And this one called all posting transactions. Again, everything hitting your general ledger, and then you can filter from there. So you can work with all of these. I also have a little page here, a little link here on the bottom, which takes you to, it's sort of the reference guide. This is actually a public link that I have available to the public. As a matter of fact, I'll put a link to at least this table in the description of the video, so everybody can have access to this. And then all these reports, all the reports and all the URLs are actually built into this database. So you actually don't have to have my custom reports menu per se to be able to access all those reports, including those 3 hidden reports that I mentioned in there. Actually, there's 5 in total. So I'm going to update and add those other 2 to the list, because I actually updated that link shortcuts recently. So everybody will have access to all the report shortcuts. I've actually made this document available for the public. There's a couple of tabs here that are pretty interesting too. I kind of break down some other concepts. You kind of have to dig in and check it out to see how that works. But I have the link right there in the reports folder. That way you can get to it quickly. And again, if you have my custom reports folder shortcut kit, you can load it into your own Google Chrome and have yours look exactly like this. And trust me, once you start using this to find reports and browse through reports, or find functions and browse through functions, you're never going to go back to using the standard click and search way of doing things. Now, this short custom reports menu, I actually charge for, because it took me sort of years to build, really. And I update it every couple of months, because QuickBooks adds new functions. And every time I update it, I make it available for people that bought it. So you could purchase that if you want to have your own reports sub menu and your own custom shortcuts menu for $25. I'll put a link on the description to that. However, you actually don't need to buy anything. You can build this yourself. It's actually not that difficult. So for example, the way you would build this yourself is you would definitely go to bookmarks and go to show bookmarks. You got to turn on your bookmarks, and then you put your mouse somewhere in the blank space right before your URL. You right click and click on add folder, and you can call this custom QBO bookmarks, and then press enter. So now you have your own folder. It's empty now. And then if you want to add any other functions that are in QuickBooks, for example, you want to add invoice, you go to new invoice. After the invoice is open, You're going to click and drag that URL into that folder, click and drag it and drop it into that folder. Click on it. There's your invoice shortcut. So it's right there. So you can do it yourself. Go through every single function. Let's say I go through bills. There's my bill. I click and drag and put it in there. So you can actually start building your own menu with your own functions that you normally access. Now, if you don't want to go through the process, it could take you hours. Just purchase my bookmarks menu that has everything in there for you, and I update them for you. So it's, in many ways, it could be the best $25 you ever spent. So anyway, that's the video. I hope that was useful for you. Whether you use the Control Alt or Control Option (?) in the built-in shortcuts, you use the Google Chrome shortcuts, you use the Vimium Google Chrome extension, so you can press F like in here, press F and see all those hotkeys in there, or you use my shortcuts menu. Any of those things are gonna make your experience with QuickBooks Online so much better. And the faster you work in it, the faster you get your work done, the more you will have an enjoyable experience with QuickBooks. Anyway, I hope you like this video. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.